Hello, in this video I want to talk about how we can use Illustrator and InDesign together to fragment type. And by fragment I mean break into pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do, what I asked you to do for homework, is just to type out your birth month. So for me, that's November. And right off the bat, we can play with breaking the month name into pieces, like so. We can also play with, if I select this type here and go to Window, Type, Glyphs, I'm using a typeface called Avant-Garde, and Avant-Garde has lots of alternate characters, and if I do alternate for current selection, I can experiment with alternate letter forms and use that to kind of break up my text. One other thing I'll do is when we have hyphens like this and our text is all caps, it can look a little nicer. I'll grab this one too, to just slide them up a little so that they kind of line up with the cap height. So let me grab that, just scoot it up a little. Okay. All right, so here's my source text. I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to head over to InDesign. Okay, in InDesign, I'll create a new file. I will make it the same size as our Illustrator file, which was that. Just real quick. Great, nice square. Then I'm going to place my Illustrator file, which I think was this one. I'm going to turn on Show Import Options. There it is. And we're going to crop to the crop. I can hit Shift W to just see what's happening. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is create some stripes or columns to break the text into. We'll do columns, and then I'll show you how to work with something a little bit more complicated by starting with Illustrator. But just to get the ball rolling here, let's do columns. I'm going to say no margins. We'll do 8 columns with no gutter. Then what I'm going to do is we'll call this our original stuff. We'll make a new layer. We'll call this fragmentation crops. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a bunch of boxes here. And I'll make sure that Snap to Grid is on and Smart Guides are off. Smart Guides could be on, but I think it just works a little better if they're off. And then what I'm going to do is just snap my rectangles to the edge of the page and these individual boxes. When I'm doing this, I can also look up here and see what's happening with my shape. So for example, I'm not actually in the corner, so I can do 0, 0, and I'm not 504 points tall. So now it's more precise. And then I'll create some more. Okay, so these will be what we fragment the type in. So now what I'm going to do is grab my original composition, come over here, and do Command-Alt-Shift-V on this page, Command-Alt-Shift-V, and paste it in place. Then I'm going to cut it, grab a stripe and do Edit, Paste Into, which is Alt Command V. So Alt Command V, Alt Command V, Alt Command V, Alt Command V, like so. Okay, so now that I have this set up, I can fragment the text. And I'm actually going to just make a copy so I have a fresh one if I need it. And I'll go over here. And then all I have to do is just double click the text inside these frames. And I can experiment with offsetting the type. Another thing that's handy is if you hold down your mouse for just a second, then what'll happen is when you move the text in these frames, you'll get to see a live update. So I'll hold this down for a minute and then I can slide and I can actually see what's happening as I do some text. Let's see, what else are we gonna do? I think the background of all these shapes is black from its original when I drew them, so I'm gonna turn that off so it's just black and white. And then I can hit W to see how it's going. And we can also, if I Alt, grab my original again, grab this one. Even within this, I can start playing with the other axis. So I can start sliding text this way. And you get this like kind of looking through glass effect. It feels a little bit like it's moving. It's pretty fun to play with, I think. Right, and then all I'm doing is just double clicking and going into each of these frames and just experimenting with fragmenting the text. Another thing I can do is create a more complicated set of shapes to fragment my type in Illustrator. So in this, we can do columns, and I could spin it on its side and do rows, but like, what if I wanted to do something like a concentric circle? So to do that, I'm going to go back to Illustrator for a second, and I'll make a new artboard. Okay. Clear it out. There's nothing on here. And off, you know what, I'll just reset my workspace to essentials, just to clean it up a little. Okay, a little easier to look at. We'll make a circle. And I will copy it, paste it in front, make a little smaller circle. I will make the smaller circle a different color, just so you can see what's happening here. I'm going to grab both circles and align them to the artboard. Just center them. Looks like they're centered already. Then I'll grab this one and click to that. So this, there we go. Here, do specified steps 5. Something like that is okay. Okay, so right now, if I do Command Y and look at the outlines, there's just 2 circles. And for this, to use these circles as masks, first I need to kind of bake it out into actual shapes. So I might make a new layer, and I'll move this down here. And I don't need that layer. Grab this, copy it, paste it on my outline layer so I can always go back if I need it. And then in this layer, I'm going to go Object, Expand. And now you can see all these blue circles here. If I do Command Y, we see all these rings. And then I can just copy this whole thing, head over to InDesign, grab my original, make a new page. I will say Edit, Paste in Place. There's my rings. I will ungroup them by going Command-Shift-G. Okay, then all I got to do is just paste my objects into each of these rings. So to do that, I'll copy this, go over here, and then Command-Alt-V, like so. And I'll grab all of this, I'll set the fill to none. Now in this group, I can play with offsets that have to do with rotation. And once again, if I hold it for a second, then I can start to see what's happening as I work. Hold down, wait a minute, and then spin.